Hi all, welcome to GSTES Ministries. I'm Eddie Johnson, and one of the things I'm passionate about is healthy living. I'm training to be a pastor, but I believe a holistically healthy lifestyle is oh so helpful for the life of the individual Christian and collective life of the church. While my specialties are in Bible, theology, and ministry, I try to incorporate things from other disciplines that lead to an overall healthy life. When churches only focus on meeting the spiritual needs of people, they do a big disservice to the body of Christ. God made us whole beings. We have physical, mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual needs, and believe me, they are all intertwined. So here are the 7 keys that I believe lead to a healthy life for that whole person. First up is healthy eating. Something I've found is that many of us in the States here just haven't been educated on what foods are healthy for us. Many of us don't eat mindfully at all. We eat whatever we like without a second thought to where the food came from, what's in it, and how it might be affecting our bodies. But I'm here to tell you that once you start putting some thought into what you're putting into your body, it makes a world of difference. Well, what should we be eating? I'm not a scientist, but from the research I've done and from testimonies I've heard, my current understanding is that if we just eat natural foods instead of processed foods, we would feel well and be more well. Now, I know that this issue is politicized right now. Let's set that aside for a moment. This issue is not just about politics. You can find people with different convictions on both sides of the political spectrum, although certain convictions definitely seem to be leaning one way right now. But this is the situation as I understand it, and if you disagree with me on the details, that's okay. But this trend of obesity is quite new in America. We didn't used to be as large and as sick as we are right now, and certain health problems got worse as processed foods were introduced to our diets. And a lot of people who have cut out processed foods have lost a lot of weight and seen certain health issues disappear. For example, I know a couple who's in their 50s who started the carnivore diet a few years ago. Now, I don't fully agree with carnivore. I think natural carbs are probably fine for you and good for you. But this couple has lost so much weight, they've seen mental health issues improve. One of them used to be diabetic and have high blood pressure, but those aren't an issue anymore, according to him. And that's just one success story from the carnivore diet. Like I said, I don't fully buy into carnivore, but I think the reason that it seems to work is probably just because you're eating natural foods instead of artificial junk made in a lab. God gave us natural foods that are good for us, and that humanity has survived on for all of history. I think we should stick to them. So let me give you a quick rundown of what I believe we should be eating and not be eating. Instead of meats that have added preservatives, like most lunch meats, cured bacon, cured ham, eat meats that haven't been altered. Go to the meat section of the grocery store and go for the steaks, pork chops, ground beef, whole pieces of chicken, eat eggs, and if you can find some uncured ham and bacon, good for you. I don't want to give those things up. Next, personally, I do try to avoid seed oils and go for things with natural fats like butter, olive oil, and beef tallow. I know that's controversial right now, and if you disagree with me, that's okay. Next, trade simple carbs like white breads and white pastas for whole grain pastas and whole grain breads. And yes, this does mean limiting a lot of snack foods because unfortunately, many of our beloved snack items are made of simple carbs. You're better off eating raw nuts and beef jerky than things like goldfish, Cheez-Its, and pretzels. Next up is sugar, which is another big one. There are so many foods that have added sugars, many of them processed sugars that will make you gain weight and probably lead to some other issues. It's not just in sweets, but it's in breakfast cereals, granola bars, sodas, some coffee products. Check the ingredients before you buy something. Below the sugars on the nutritional facts label, there should be a section that tells you total sugars and added sugars, or something like that, it says. You gotta add those up to see how much sugar you're actually consuming in a portion of that food item. So limit your intake of these processed sugars. Instead of eating sugary cereal, go for something natural and nutritious like oatmeal. And I think we should be limiting our intake of artificial dyes. Be sure to eat plenty of natural fruits and vegetables, find locally sourced foods if you can, and use wisdom with things like alcohol and tobacco, and stay off the hard drugs. Alright, I hope I haven't lost any of you with that, but in summary, I believe the key to eating healthy is just to eat natural foods instead of processed foods. That's my best understanding. You're allowed to disagree with me, and I encourage you to do your own research and come to your own conclusions here. I also recommend you take your time to eat slowly and truly enjoy your meals. It's a wonderful thing to eat with other people, too. And by the way, eating meals at the table as a family teaches your kids good manners and how to sit still. Okay, so our next point shouldn't be as complicated and technical, so if you got lost in the weeds there, know that the rest of this video should be more straightforward. The next key to a healthy lifestyle goes hand in hand with healthy eating, and that is, you guessed it, exercise. Another reason why we Americans are so unhealthy is because many of us just don't move our bodies enough. A lot of us do have physical jobs, and that's great, but many of us don't. We sit at work all day and then go home and sit and watch TV or scroll on our phones. If you've never gotten into exercise before, I know it can sound intimidating, but it really doesn't have to be that hard to get started. Like I said, many of us work physical jobs, like groundskeeping and custodial work, and that's great. If you're up and moving your body for 8 hours a day like that, that's making a difference. But still, simple ways to incorporate exercise can just include walking, jogging, or cycling. You can also just do some simple body weight exercises at home if you don't want to pay for a gym membership. And you don't necessarily need to get swole, although that's great too. Just make sure you're up and moving your body for several hours a week. Me, I like to do strength training 6 days a week and do cardio when I can, taking 1 day of rest, and I feel much better than I did before I started exercising. I have much more energy to make it through the day, I have more physical strength than I used to. I strongly encourage you to find some way to incorporate exercise into your life too. Your body and mind will be well and feel more well, especially considering that they say exercise helps alleviate anxiety and depression. Alright, the third key to a healthy lifestyle is quality sleep. This is another one that we Americans struggle with. We think it's virtuous to work ourselves to death all night, and we wonder why we're so tired and anxious all the time. But it's not just hard work that's pushing us to lose sleep. I think a big part of it is, especially for my generation, fear of missing out. We don't want to miss out on fun things, so we stay awake and party hardy all night. This was a big thing in college. My friends would always make fun of me for going to bed at 9:30 when they were ready to stay up gaming and chatting until 2 or 3 in the morning. But I knew that if I wanted to feel well the next day, I was going to need to make sure I got enough sleep the night before. They say 7 to 9 hours a night is what's good. I know that about 7.5 is ideal for me, and if I get less than about 6.5, I'm going to be feeling like garbage the next day. You know your body better than anyone else, so try to determine how much sleep you need to feel well. And I know some of you are thinking, Eddie, I'm okay. I can function fine and I feel fine on only 4 or 5 hours. I hear what you're saying, but I wonder if you've just been sleeping so poorly for so long that this is your new normal and you don't know how good things can be. My challenge to you is to try to get 7 to 9 hours for a while and see if that makes a difference for you. Yes, this requires making sacrifices, and yes, I stay up past my bedtime on certain occasions, but generally, I believe the sacrifice is worth it so you can be functioning at your best. You want to do the best work and be the best that you can be. Plus, you don't want to fall asleep behind the wheel, do you? Okay, so the next key may sound just like the third, but it's actually quite different, and that is rest. I'm not talking about sleep, I'm talking about being awake and doing things that aren't work and don't feel like work. We Americans like to constantly be producing 7 days a week, and we think we're lazy if we take a day off to just rest. But this is not actually virtuous. It will take a toll on your mind and body. Remember ancient Israel. God commanded them to take a day of rest each week. Were they being lazy? No. While it can be hard to understand how this commandment might apply to us in the New Covenant, I still think it has some great principles that can help us flourish as the people of God. Aside from discussions about how the Old Testament law applies to us, rest can make a world of difference. It's really not that complicated. Just take 1 day each week to not do any work and to do things that replenish you. Take time to do things that are fun. And I don't mean to, just scroll on your phone, binge watch TV, or play video games all day. You can do those things in moderation, although I definitely recommend that you use social media sparingly. Read a book, tend a garden, go on a hike, draw, paint, journal, play games with friends, whatever's life-giving for you. And if you're not used to taking a whole day to do this, a mentor of mine from college says that it's helpful to start with just a morning. Then next week, take a whole morning and a whole afternoon. The next week, do it all day. You might be surprised at how replenished you'd feel if you would just give yourself a day off. And side note, try to take some time each day to do these restful things. And spend time outside. Alright, so far we've been talking about a lot of practical keys to a healthy lifestyle. Next we're going to move into the more abstract keys. The fifth key is a healthy thought life. What do you think about when you're all alone? When you have nothing to do but think? What do you tell yourself? Are you kind to yourself, and do you tell yourself what's true? Do you direct your thoughts in prayer back to God? These are things that you must consider if you want to have a healthy inner dialogue with yourself. Be honest about what you're feeling and what you're going through. Give yourself space to express yourself while always bringing it back into submission to the Lord. You can say, Lord, I'm sad, or I'm anxious, but don't forget to remind yourself that God is with you and has compassion on you in your sadness and anxiety and doesn't want you stuck in them. Tell yourself true things and ground yourself in reality. Another aspect of having a healthy thought life is to take the time to think about the important things going on in your life. Don't just let life pass you by without taking time to reflect on what's important. Don't make decisions without thinking them through and going to God and others about them. And don't just blindly accept everything you hear. Examine it critically. Do research, consult the scriptures and other Christian sources, and other non-Christian sources too. Think for yourself. So many people just go through life with an uncritical lens and never take the time to reflect on what's important, solve problems, or appreciate what's in front of them. Don't let that be you. And side note, guys, I found that journaling is a great way for me to process my thoughts, whether I'm working through feelings or thinking critically. I recommend you try it. It could be helpful for you too. One thing about thought life is that we can't do it alone. Sometimes we need to get out of our heads and get the perspective of another person. Which brings me to my next key number 6, which is relationships. This is another area with lots of struggle in our day and age, and not just my generation. In this digital age, often we find ourselves connecting with others online, but lacking face-to-face connection. Don't be ashamed if you feel you lack friends, because you're not alone in that. Because of the digital age, we may have to try harder than usual to find friends, but it's so worth it. Find people who have the same interests as you. Do fun things together. Get to know people and be known by them. And if you're not involved in a local church yet, please do get involved. And I don't mean to just go attend services on Sunday. I mean to get to know people there. Join small groups and be accountable to one another. Live life together. Confess your sins to one another and pray for one another. Be there for one another. Be mentored by Christians who are older and more mature than you. Pour into Christians who are younger and less mature than you. And inside and outside of church life, find opportunities to serve others like at homeless shelters or soup kitchens. Share the gospel with people who may not know the Lord. And go to therapy if you need to. The list goes on. Relationships also involve those in the family. Keep your ties strong with your blood relatives if you can. Spend quality time with your kids. And spend quality time with your spouse. Continue to get to know each other more deeply. Do fun things together. Take date nights away from the kids regularly. Be intimate together. And husbands, please take time to understand your wives. Be a good listener. Ask her questions. Get to truly know her. Love her sacrificially. And wives, take the time to let your husband know how much you appreciate him and respect him. When we invest in these relationships with one another, we get to love and be loved. We get to pour out into others and be poured into ourselves. We get to live life together instead of closing ourselves off in miserable isolation. God was right when he said it's not good for man to be alone. Alright, we have arrived at our last key, and it's probably obvious at this point, and that is to invest in your relationship with God. We have access to God through the life, death, resurrection, and intercession of Jesus Christ. And God desires for you to spend time with him every day. While everything we have and are should be for the Lord, it's wise to take time every day to just fully focus on him. Get rid of all distractions and do what you need to give the Lord your full attention and let him pour into you. But know that this looks different for everybody. Maybe you can focus in prayer best while you walk, or run, or clean the house. Maybe you connect with the Lord best through worship music. Me, I need complete silence and solitude, and to write down my prayers. Otherwise, I will lose focus. And please do read the Bible for yourself. You don't have to be devouring large portions for hours a day, but do be in the Word each day. Think prayerfully through what you're reading. And it's often helpful to come to a point where you're reading without a commentary. That way you can discover for yourself what God's saying in the text. It's good and helpful to get teaching from other Christians and to hear what they say about the scriptures, but it's also valuable for you to be able to interpret a text for yourself. And if you do better listening to the Bible, that's fine too. And bring what you're learning in your personal time with the Lord to other Christians. Learn from one another. Grow in the Lord together. We were not made to live this life alone. We are the body of Christ. And if you haven't given your life to Christ, if you've not turned to him for forgiveness of your sin, I want you to know that he is waiting for you. He wants you to be with him forever. He wants to forgive your sin and make you a new creation. Alright, so those are the 7 things I believe lead to a healthy and flourishing life. I hope they're helpful for you. Did I miss anything? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Lord bless you.